Hey, what's up? Welcome to BNED. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of AMC Entertainment, ticker symbol AMC. And I do have a few on the list here. One is Big Lots that was requested on Twitter, and I'll wait for the person who requested that to show up in the live chat. And also KWE, which I saw posted on the Discord, so I thought I'd go over that one. I believe, Kevin, was that you who requested it? And hey, is it Judubale? How's it going? And so VLD, I'll throw that up here, as well as PBM and CYBN. I'll try to get to all of these. Kevin has KWE as well as NRDY and BIOL. Hopefully I'm typing all of these right because I'm not looking. John, what's up? Yeah, 5 minutes late. I was eating lunch and I actually had the hiccups right before coming on, so hopefully I don't have them. I just ate so fast. But I'll do this for an hour, so I'll be on for like 5 minutes after close, and then I'm gonna start working on videos. And got the later you are, the more work got done without you. Yeah. And so let's see. Big Lots is a good one. Yeah, but I'm going to wait for Mac Attack because he requested that. And before I do get on with the ticker requests, I did want to point out that, it was requested that I do more with, this is pretty bright. Hopefully it's not too bright for you guys, but it was requested that I do more with polls on the channel. And so rather than doing a poll on Twitter or just, asking for stuff in the Discord, it's great to get engagement on the channel. So I'm just going to refresh this to see, what it's at right now. And so far we got 4 votes for these tickers: DJT, Sober, Velo 3D, which I'll probably just go over during Ticker Request Live, and then options. And so far, 4 votes, majority on options. Ricardo requested Lucid. And so if you do have a request that's not on the poll here, if somebody's requested it, don't just let that sit. Request it again. If you want Lucid, make your voice be heard and comment what you want me to go over. And so whatever is most popular here, I will do today in the after hours, make a video on it. And, I personally am just getting a lot more interested in options, like rather than trading shares, buying shares. I'm thinking about, how to do that with options. And I just think that's a really neat way to trade the market. And also it puts kind of a timeline on your trades. So, moving forward, I'll probably be doing a lot more videos on options as I learn them. I want to share, what I'm learning. And I just think it's a really nice way to be making money, to have an edge. And I have kind of pivoted around a lot with the AMC calls that I bought, which I could go over in this stream if you guys are interested as well. But I know there's a lot of ticker requests. But yeah, I'm just really excited about options. And let's see. John is mentioning Blink is starting to move to the upside. So I'll add that here, but I may not go over it too extensively because I was planning on doing an EV charging station video going over EVgo, ChargePoint, and Blink. And so I do that in the after hours after we get the close for the candle. And then Frank, what do I think about NIO? So I was actually planning on doing the options video on NIO because I think that, I kind of made an error with NIO in thinking that, I'd be happy to buy shares at $5 and I think it's going to go higher. But one could do sell a cash secured put with a strike of $4, which would correspond with filling this gap. And so that's basically like saying, I would buy 100 shares at a price of $4 if price goes down that low, closes below it on whatever the expiration date is. And so I think that's a really nice way to do it because when you sell an option, you get paid a premium. And so one could do that. So that's what I was thinking about making the video on. But I definitely think that this gap might be filled. I was wrong, and my call that I got with the strike of 5 is probably going to expire worthless. But price would be lower than $5 a share. So then rather than exercising the call, I could just buy some shares lower. But anyways, I am going to Rivian, and John saying Rivian is more interested in in Rivian. Wait, sorry. John is more interested in Rivian than in NEO. I'll add Rivian up here. And yeah, I do agree that, I'm a little bit more interested in American investments just for, geopolitical reasons and stuff. But NEO videos have been performing pretty well. So I do tend to lean towards that. I also do hold NEO position. But I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the chat, and I'm going to start trying to make some progress on these requests. And so Judubale requested VLD. Since that does not look like it's going to be a winner in the poll here, make sure you vote. I'm going to take a screenshot of this at close, and whatever's most popular, I'll do a video on it. And, options, that could be a win-win doing an option on a ticker like NEO or Rivian or whatever, seems to be of interest. But I haven't done a video on Rivian in a while. And I'm really interested in that company, but I don't have a position. So I have an interest in that. So yeah, I might start with, let's see, Velo 3D. And so I'll actually just tell you guys what I plan on doing with this. And so this actually reminds me of, I'm going to have to pull up Canoe to go over my thought process with Velo 3D because, I made a mistake with Canoe earlier. I had a position before a 1 for 25, or no, I think it was 1 for 23 reverse split. And so I think that relates to what's going on with Velo 3D. And so I'm just going to go over that. So here, there's a reverse split 1 for 23. Rub me the wrong way. Why would they do a 1 for 23? Why not 1 for 10, 1 for 100, or 1 for 20? Why 1 for 23? Because then that screws up the amount of shares that you have, and I just don't like it. And so when I saw that news, I just sold the small position that I had. But, a few days after that reverse split, it ripped, and it ripped pretty high. So it went from, the low there of $1.22 up to a high of about let's see, what was the high? 370. So that's about a 300% move over the course of like 1 to 2 weeks. And so I'm wondering if something like that could happen with Velo 3D. And so for me, I started establishing a position right around this blue line, dollar cost averaging. And actually, I think it was on this gap down. And so I had accumulated shares in 100 share increments. And my average is now right around 20 cents, I think. I have about 400 shares, but 400 shares is not divisible by what their reverse split is going to be. And so if we look at the news here, let's see. This is Seeking Alpha, so it's going to be Benzinga. Right here, you can see that above me. I'll just pull it up here. This is from Benzinga. Velo 3D announces a 1 for 35 reverse stock split will open for trading on Thursday on a split adjusted basis. So today's Tuesday, we've got Wednesday, and then Thursday, it's going to be reverse split. And so since I have, I think I had actually 300 shares, I got 100 more today, and I do have an order placed to buy more. But I, want to wait for if in case there's a dip. I didn't get any at the low of 1140. I did get 100 shares today at basically current price, $12.98, I think exactly. And so my thought process is maybe following this reverse split, there would be a big move up. And I have been, a little bit disappointed in the performance of the stock. And, rather than dumping it like I did with Canoe and missing out on potential rally following reverse split, I plan on getting 300 more shares tomorrow. That would put my total at 700. That's divisible by 35. And so then I would have 20 shares after the reverse split. And if there is a rally, great. And, maybe I would trim some if we do see a move to the upside, trimming above my cost average. And, so that's kind of my thesis with it. I do think that following the reverse split, or at least I'm hoping that there is a rally like what we saw with Canoe. following their reverse split. Would it be 300%? Maybe. I don't know. It might be less than that. It might be, 100% would be great. And then, if it was 100% from this price, then I could trim above my cost average, and then so I could, add on dips below my average. And so that's my thought process with it. And, I think that there's going to be a rally following the reverse split, and I just want to make sure that my number of shares are divisible by 35. And because it's below $1, I have to buy in at least 100 share increments. And so I will probably buy, since it doesn't look like it's trading much in the after hours. Let's see what's going on. 10-minute time scale. It is trading in the after. Oh, no. It looks like, yeah, so this is, yeah, it looks like it's just kind of stopped around there. I don't know what's going on with it. But, I do think that I'm expecting some upside. And so I want to get my average down before the reverse split. So, and also get my number of shares up to be divisible by 35, which has to be in 100 share increments. Or at least, yeah, no, well, I could do, let's see, sorry, not 100 share increments. I have to buy in 100 share or more increments. And actually, rather than buying, getting up to 700 shares, I could, do whatever addition beyond 400 in a 100 share increment or more to get my average down. But anyways, yeah, I think that this is going to be going higher basically following the reverse split. And I think it'd be good to have a position that's divisible by 35. And I was just thinking in divisible by 350, but I could do by 35. And so let's see, that could be, if I have 435, I could do the math on that if you guys are interested, but I imagine not so much. And so I'm just going to try to make sure that my position is divisible by 35 before the close tomorrow. Whatever the price is, maybe it goes up to 15 cents. I'd still, just buy more. But I want to leave room for the possibility of a dip down to 12, and that's where I have my limit order placed at. Oh, actually, it's not after hours. I don't know why I'm thinking it's after hours. Price is moving, but yeah. So I want to make sure that if it does pull back to 12 cents, that order's filled. But, if it's not, this is still below my average, so that's fine as well. So hopefully that was helpful, since I'm probably not going to be doing a Velo 3D video because nobody's voted for it on this poll. But we do have 5 votes. Looks like the majority are for options. And yeah, so that's cool. I'm excited about that. Of these 3 tickers, I felt like DJT was popular, so that's why I put it on there. Sober, talked about in the Discord. VLD, news about the reverse split, and I'm a holder, and options. I'm just excited about them. I think a lot of people are right now, and my excitement was sparked by the mysterious whale that ended up being Roaring Kitty. So learned a lot about that. So anyways, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to move along and kind of catch up on the comments, and I see Judu Bale, who, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name wrong. What if not divisible by 35? I hold 5,800 shares, and that gives 165.71. And so I think it depends on your brokerage. I recently had I think it was a split, or it might have been, no, I think it was a reverse split happen, and it was for an ETF, I believe. And actually, it was for SOXS, which is 3x leverage short semiconductors. And there was a reverse split, a 1-for-10 reverse split, and I didn't realize it until after the fact, and I had an odd number of shares. And I believe it was SOXS. It might have been something else. And so what happened is the odd number, so you would have 0.71, that's an odd number. My brokerage, I ended up having 165 shares, like in your example, and then the 0.71, that amount was returned to me, and I believe it was probably like whatever the closing price for Velo 3D will be tomorrow. I would guess it would be that. And so one thing, let's see, I'm going to pull up my calculator app and see if that could be helpful. And so let's see, 0.71 because that's the odd amount. Well, actually, we want to do 0.29. 0.29 times, would this be times 35? That'd be about 10.1. I don't know. I'm probably going to screw this math up. I'm not used to, I do math on paper, not on calculators. But so let's see. What is divisible by 35? So, okay, so 35 times, let's see, 50. So really, I mean, I guess, yeah, let's see, times, this is probably not going to be helpful because I'm smooth brain when it comes to math like this on the fly. So, yeah, let's see. Okay, so your position is 58,000. Ah, man, crap. See, I'll do it like this, typing it, divided by 35, and so that's what you get. So then you'd have this odd amount of 7.71. And so Kevin B is asking about Big Lots is a GameStop play. The guy from The Big Short has been accumulating. So that's Michael Burry. But let's see. Let's try to solve this problem. So let's see. So let's see, 35 times, let's say 170. That is 500, or so 5,950. And so given the position that you have, Judah Bale, that's, let's see, subtract 5,800 from that. Oh, crap, what did I do? Okay, so I'm just saying 170 times 35. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to subtract from that what you have. And there's that. That's 150. So, and then 150 times, let's say, 13 cents. If you didn't want to deal with the odd number of shares that you might be left with, it might be a good idea, I don't know, to get, if you're limited by having to do it 100 share increments or more like I am, if you get 150 more shares, that's a total of $19.50 at this price. And so you get that. So it would cost that much. And then you'd end up having, let's see, 170 shares after the fact, rather than 165.71. So maybe that's of interest, and you have, until the end of today and tomorrow, really the end of tomorrow, to decide what you want to do. But that might be a nice way to go about that. Or really, crap, I didn't want to close that. Sorry, I'm focusing on all of this math, but another way of doing that. So if I do 170 minus 35, wait, crap. 170. Wait. Let's see. Crap. This mental math, it's so tough. I need to be drawing it out. So this times 35. And actually, wait. No, I'm going to do 169. I'm stupid. Times 35. Damn it, what happened? So 169 times 35. Okay, so that's 59.5100 or whatever, 5,915. And then so if you subtract the number of shares that you have, that's 5800, then that could be 115 additional shares. So that's still above 100, and that would then cost at current price $14.95. So maybe that's something that would be of interest. And then also you'd have the fun number after the split of 169. And so maybe that's of interest. I don't know, but for me, I am definitely planning on adding to my position to get it so it's divisible by 35, because I want to hold my position even though I'm holding the bag, because I think, like Canoe, there could be a rally after the reverse split. So sorry for that long ongoings about that, but I'm going to get back to the chat, and so I'm going to remove this from the list here. Hopefully that was helpful, and I will include timestamps to this stuff So, we can all appreciate everything that I've gone over here. And let's see, Kevin, since you requested, and Judubale, since you requested a few tickers and I went over VLD, I'm going to go over to the next request. And so that is Kevin, since he requested KWE, and I do have that up here. I'll go over that one first. And Power Hour, take me to 2 so I can sell 200. Are you talking about that with, oh yeah. Let's see. See, I drew that downtrending channel, and that's just based on like one standard deviation. So I didn't fix those lines. I just selected the beginning and the end. And so I could see there being resistance around 135. Where might this be going? Let's see. Big wick up to 116 yesterday. Today, not being able to get a high of that level, getting a high at 113, and also being red. Spinning top with big tail, big top, tail, and wick at the top. I'm drawing a blank there. And so this could be suggesting a reversal, not being able to get above yesterday's high, not closing above yesterday's high, and being red on the day, pulling back as far as the direction of trading goes over the course of the day, even though it's green, up almost 15% on the day, but being right around $1 a share. So I could see this, right around here where there's like the top here, I could see maybe a pullback to find support around 85 cents. There is still this gap to the downside that's pretty massive, but I feel like it's probably more likely that it's going to hang out up here. While the day is not over, the trading is not over, so I can't really factor in this volume too much. Volume is low for the day, and the fact that volume is low for the day and it's holding up there, that makes me think that, got this big move up and holding up there. Maybe this is like a flag that would start forming before a break higher. But I could see, right around 85 to 87 cents being support, and actually maybe it could be coming down to like 71. There being this gap here that was filled with a wick from yesterday, but there's just not that much there. And so I could see price pulling back down to around there, maybe 65 cents. And let's see what these highs kind of correspond with. It does correspond with the consolidation over here. And so with that, that line right there, right around $1.05, having a tough time getting above there. The people who bought here that wanted it to go up and didn't sell here, they're probably trimming here because they're panicking. Oh, finally, a breath of fresh air. I can get rid of my shares at break even because this thing is crazy. So that is something. And so I would consider that, I guess. Yeah. So could this go higher, though? I would think that it'd probably get rejected around 135. So $2, I think that's kind of a stretch for it. Let's see. And so, yeah. If I'm not holding this, if I was holding this, I'd probably want to trim, and I'd want to buy some back between the range of 85 cents down to around 70 cents. I think that range, because there's all of this, consolidation there. If I throw up the volume profile, this 71 cents volume average low right around there. There is a lot of, price action up here, but I think that once it does come down to here, it could be pulling back. And so I'd look for that. I'd want to trim a little bit after these moves. And not to say that it won't continue higher. It definitely could. But from, let's see, Friday's close up to current price, up 146%. So yeah, I feel like a good rule of thumb is if there's a large position or just any kind of position, I think it's good practice to have. When something goes up 100%, take half off the table. So you've made back everything you put in, and then you can just let the rest ride, whether you want that to just sit in there forever and just be a long-term investment, or if you want to just see if it's going to go higher and then trim or cash out higher up. And so yeah, I think that this is likely to go up to 135, but I think pulling back to 85 or 70 before then. But I could be wrong. So hopefully that was helpful. And I'm pretty sure that I have this on the DGen list, and I think I also have it on the pennies list. But man, 30 cents down here. Nice work, whoever had averages down there, whatever your average is, Kevin. That's pretty awesome. And so, yeah, John, I already mentioned that I'm sorry for being late. The later you are, the more, yeah, let's see. Big lots. Okay, so I'm waiting for Mac Attack. You're here. Okay, cool. I've just been like rambling about a couple stocks, so I will go over now. Big lots. I know that'll make Kevin happy too, so that's good. And I do want to also note before I do continue on, make sure you share your thoughts in this poll that I do have the channel. At close, I'm going to take a screenshot of it and I'll do, whatever was most voted. And we got 1 vote for DJT, about 4 votes for options, and I do have 1 comment from Ricardo requesting Lucid Motors. So, let me know what you think. I'm going to do it based on what's on here, and if you do want Lucid Motors or whatever ticker, make sure you comment it. If somebody else commented again, that will serve as 2 votes rather than just 1. But yeah, I'm going to switch over to BIG, and I saw Mac's post on Mac Attack, his post on X, talking about this being the next short squeeze play. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think that he's pretty good at calling those and also having a good plan for taking profits along the way up. So I'd recommend following him on X and just chatting or checking what he has to see about that. But as far as this goes, pretty big down move. And for the day, putting in this hammer candle that suggests a reversal. While it is red on the day, being down 1.74% so far, still trading, of course. But there is this wick or tail that suggests that there are buyers stepping in below 225, and from 225, I have this level marked, this yellow line. I think it's not a trend line, but what does that go to? That goes way back in the past. And so I might actually switch over to the weekly time frame, maybe the monthly time frame, to see what those levels are. And so they were just levels over here that kind of stood out to me. And so I'm not gonna think too much about them, go over them too much, but just looking at the price here, I mean, this could be and also, I mean, with this, there's a gap up here. So the close on the 5th of June was $3.52. That's a pretty nice swing from current price. It's also a pretty cheap stock. So, I mean, if one wanted to participate in this, cheap per share, I mean, this could, just to fill that gap, that's an over 50% swing. And, so maybe there's something there getting up to this orange line, that's 75%, getting up to these highs, that's a 150 just about percent swing there. And, I do think, though, that a level it'll probably have a tough time breaking above, let's see, is basically this downtrend. That is based on, these pivot points that you can see there, was support over here with a fake out break before a big move up. And then over here, again, fake out break before a pretty big move up. Now trading well below it. And let's see, I'm just thinking if I do, let's see, a Fibonacci extension, I think that this could give an idea of where price might be going to the downside if it's found a level of support. And yeah, I mean, it's approximate. This retracement that I do is just approximate, or that I did. But trading, right around the 618 at like 235. So being below there, that could be a really nice dip buy. And then $2 a share, maybe that's a good level to, maybe get a quarter of position around here. And if it does dip to $2, maybe that could be a nice place to add more to it, but then have a stop loss below it, maybe at like 195 or 190, something around there. So yeah, I mean, I see Mac Attack posting stuff like this all of the time, and one of the things that I think is really nice about him and his approach is he'll be excited about something, he'll be in it, and then, you know, I'll ask him about it a week later, and he's like, you know, that was so last week. And so that's how you want to be doing this stuff, be in and be out. And yeah, and I might actually pull up the post that you put on Twitter. And so he's saying in the chat, big lots will explode if it gets any traction or momentum. And so, oh yeah, he was talking about one of the things that he looks for is low RSI. So when RSI dips below 30, that's an oversold territory. So that means, you know, it's potentially a good dip buy, but it also could mean that price is could continue to lower because there's just not much behind it. So like what he's talking about, once it gets some traction, any momentum. And one thing that's actually appealing about this, thinking about not only the RSI, but also the volume on this gap move day, we have seen price go, we saw, you know, price, of course, gap down, and we saw volume spike up. That suggests that it's not so good, that price is going to continue down. But then as price has continued down over the past 3 trading days, volume has come down. And so that does suggest, you know, it matches with the hammer candle here, the wick at the base, you know, that this could be going up pretty massively. And I actually wonder if it could be going up massively after hours once we get the close in. So yeah, this seems like, you know, I am not in it. I'm intrigued by it, I must say. And, you know, at $2.26, that's one that, you know, get 10 shares and see what happens with it. That's about 23 bucks. And, you know, maybe that could turn into 46 bucks with this. Yeah, so I feel like this could be a fun one to just play around with. And so I'm intrigued by that, but I don't have a position. And so Mac is saying in the chat, yeah, it's not a long-term play for me. I'll take 20% if I get it. I'll also dollar cost average, so I'll buy more at $2.15 and $2. Yeah, so and with, you know, the mention of $2.15, the low for today so far was $2.19. So if we were to get a close below that, you know, tomorrow or something, I do think that would suggest it's probably going down to $2. But looking at the volume, looking at the RSI, and looking at the candles here, it does suggest that a bottom could be in or is right around the corner. So I think that this looks like a really, really nice setup. And I'll just pull up on Twitter what Mac was posting. Let's see. He posts all this. Actually, I don't know where you get all this information because it's usually just screenshots, but this is just research from it, unless this is stuff that you've written up yourself. And so all of this stuff here. So I will, let's see, I'll just include a link to this in the chat, and you guys can follow him, and also you can also follow me. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to make Ed move for a second so you can see it. I'm right over here, DGen Ed or Andy, and I am DGen Ann on Twitter because Andy was taken and Ed was taken. And so that's why I would prefer it to be DGen Ed, but whatever. And so let's see. I'm seeing some comments from Alan. Max Payne is $5. So I'll look at that in a second. And do they have a dividend? I think, let's see. Is there a dividend? I mean, I guess that would be like if you wanted to long-term hold it. Mac is suggesting it for a shorter term swing, but if one did want to establish a position, maybe there is a dividend. And let's see. I will, let's see. I don't know if there is a dividend because, oh, yep, there is a dividend. But the last time they did a dividend was March 16th of 2023, and it looks like they did that quarterly, and it looks like there's no longer a dividend with big lots, as far as I can tell, but I haven't found the details of that. Just by looking at the chart, it suggests that there's not, but I will pull up, you know, their Max Payne, because that's always a useful tool. I love Max Payne, and so this is big, looking up big. Okay, and so come on now. It's taking a second to load. No data returned for... Oh, maybe there are no options? There are options. I don't know what's going on here. No data returned for ticker big. Sometimes it gets buggy. Like if I do it for AMC right now, no data returned for... There's a bug going on. It might just be because it's getting close to close. But I mean, we can look at the options table here to see, they only do monthly contracts. So that is something to consider. And let's see, where's the most amount of open interest? These are calls that I'm looking at. And the most amount of open interest is at the $5 strike. To buy a contract with a $5 strike would cost $5. It's 5 cents in premium times 100 shares is $5. And yeah, so maybe actually this would be a good thing to consider. That's a couple weeks from now, and that could be maybe a swing for 100%. And actually, what I might do, just because I got to embrace the BNED, I might just for funsies go over to. I'm just doing this on my phone because that's how I usually trade. But $5 seems like actually, though, but this is probably going to go in smaller increments. So while $5, maybe it'll go up there, but the asks for all of these calls is $5. And so $3 is the cheapest one, or is the one that's, closest to the current price. Whereas if you go to $2.50, that's... 15 bucks. So, what I find intriguing about this for the June 21st strike is maybe an out of the money call with a strike of $3. So just above where the cursor is. So I find that interesting, and it just won. And so I might do that just to have fun. I don't know if you heard a beep, but I just placed that order for funsies. And yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm intrigued by it. And that's also, rather than getting, accumulating a bunch of shares and buying the dip, that's just like risking $5. Who cares? It's $5. And so I'll do that for some fun. And I will catch up on the chat. And so let's see. Yeah, checking up on the... And so, like Alan, regarding the max pain, I don't know what the max pain is, but it would make sense based on the open interest that max pain is right around $5. But a better deal for buying calls, if one wanted to, is $3 because it could close in the money much easier than the one at $5. And so this could go from $5 premium or 5 cents to 10 cents, and that's doubling. And for me, that's when I would take profit just for fun, And so Forrest Gump Jr. saying, what the heck is max pain? Okay, so max pain, I can't pull it up from this website because it's having a little bit of a buggy time. But max pain is when you have the maximum number of call options and put options expiring out of the money. So basically, if retail holds a bunch of those positions and it expires out of the money, so that's... Let's see here, looking at this options table with the $5 strike, that's right here. The open interest, so the amount of contracts that are open right now is 17,759 contracts. That's the most number of contracts here. So $5 is likely the max pain or right around there. And if price closes on June 21st, when this contract expires, if it closes below $5 or maybe $4.99 even, then those calls would expire out of the money. They'd expire worthless, and retail who is holding those positions would lose money, whereas market makers who made money on the premium, they would make the most money. And we could also look at puts, so I'm just going to switch over to that, and the amount of open interest there. You just got the reason why the max pain is likely $5 is because whereas with puts, there are just not as many puts. This is going into the not even up to 2,000 contracts, whereas looking at calls, you've got it up to 17,000. So $5 is likely the max pain, and there could be a nice swing around $3. And Lonnie Lugnut is saying, run, Jimmy, run. And Dean Jennings saying, I imagine they bring a dividend back. I think that depend on their financial positioning and stuff, because it seems like, what's their market cap? 66.85 million. They're not really that big of a company anymore. It seems like. So I don't know that, it's like I feel like they're more at risk than they probably were in the past. And so because of that, it's tougher for them to give out a dividend. Kind of like how AMC and GameStop, people talk a lot about there being a dividend or something, but those companies need to make sure that they're on solid ground before they, would think about a dividend. And so Big Lots, I think that they're kind of in a struggling position. And so a dividend might not be the best for them right now, but maybe in the future. And so Roblox Gamer is saying, you guys just, did you guys just find a gem? I think so. I think Big Lots could be a nice one. I think it could be a winner. And so I'm just going to swing that one call with a $3 strike because maybe I make $5 on it. So nothing crazy. Yep. Roblox Gamer, exactly. And Pray for Change saying, let's go. I agree. And this is crazy. Hello, I am new to your channel. Welcome, Tiger Hood. I try to do ticker requests live every once in a while, definitely every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and periodically during market hours or power hour when I'm not working, which is kind of random. I'm on a 2-week rotation, so the days I work always change. And let's see. So I'm happy to take requests. I try to do them in order, but I kind of get bombarded, and I'm going to be introducing a membership soon. So there will be some of these that are open to the public and others that are just for members, ticker requests live. And Roblox Gamer saying that Big is 37% short on Ortex. So yeah, it might be pretty good. Trey K saying, I bought another share of XEQT at $30.65 today for about 20% of portfolio. So nice. I don't know about that one. FFIE, I can throw it up here, but there are some other ones that I do need to go over. Let's see. And I will, what are the ones that I've gone over here? So I've gone over Big Lots. I'm excited by this one that is in the watch list. So I think that just looks cool. And I will just pull up because, I'm going to request it real quick. I'm sorry, I'm going to hijack it a little bit. With AMC, one thing that was kind of pointed out I shared his video on the channel's community page. Colin Gladman did a video on GameStop. I think it's applicable for AMC. And he was talking about how, if they're like trend line traders, you would think, oh, there's a dip buy here. This is a great time to be accumulating. And so yesterday, I bought a number of calls on AMC, but then today I realized, after following his video, maybe this trend line does break and there's a fake out break to take out the lows at 410, because I had said I don't think we're going lower than that because we're putting in higher lows. I don't think we're going to break it. And so what I could see to kind of, create the most pain is a drop to below 410, maybe getting to $4 a share. And then from there, that being scaring a lot of people out of the position and then it taking off. And so I sold a couple of the calls that I bought yesterday for profit. I just swung them for premium. And the reason why I did that is because I had basically utilized all of my capital. And if this was to dip, I would not be able to buy it. And so now I've kind of freed up some cash to then buy the dip. And so I did adjust my, basically to buy back the calls I had sold today, which I had bought yesterday, and then to buy them back at a lower cost, a lower premium, because I do think that the price is going a lot higher in the next 2 to 3 weeks, ideally before the 21st, or leading up to the 21st. But yeah, so I just think that's cool. I wanted to note that in case, this does dip lower, I can add, but if it does take off, I have a number of calls, a lot of shares, and so I feel comfortable with my position. And so I'm not feeling like I'm missing out, and I will be able to buy the dip if there is one. And if there is no dip, I can just chill. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And so I'm going to scroll up to the top, Blink making new highs into the close. I want Plug to follow. John's saying that. And so, yeah, I might go over Blink real quick. Yeah, it does look like it's breaking out, and it does look like I mentioned this. I don't know if Ben's here. I imagine not, because he always requests Blink. But he asked me about the price action. I just responded in a comment. What I would like to see is a close above yesterday's high, because when we see this downtrend that I drew here, it's not to the exact points. It's just kind of a casual trend line. We saw this break above that trend line, but we couldn't confirm it. We got a break above it, but then we closed back below it. And then here we got another break above it, but we didn't confirm above it because it's just one candle. But now this candle for today, likely getting a close above, hopefully getting a close above the high of $3.33. If that's the case, then not only is it a confirming close above the high of yesterday, it's also the confirming close of the high from Wednesday of last week, June 5th. So I think that this looks like, really, really good. And I want to do an EV charging station video today, which will cover EVgo, Blink, and ChargePoint. So yeah, I think that the chart looks really good. So I would think that this trend line up here that I've drawn could be tested, and that would be getting to a price of 380 basically. And then that could be, the formation of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which could then be bringing price up to close to $5 a share. So I think the chart's looking really good. Thank you for the suggestion. And there is about 9 minutes left in the trading for the day before the market closes. And so let's see, I'm just going to type up so I can see what John's saying there in the chat. Saying that he wishes that Plug would follow what Blink's doing. And I agree. Plug is one of the tickers that, I bought a call on with a strike of $3 a share. I realized what I should have done is I should have sold a cash secured put with a strike of $3 a share, because then I would have made some money on premium if price did go down to $3 a share. Chart suggested that it would with this gap here, and maybe I could have even done it with a cash secured put with a strike of $2.50, because then that would be pulling price down to fill this gap. We have filled that gap now over the past few trading days, and so I think that this could be setting up for a rally. So I'm hoping that it closes on the 21st above $3 a share, so I can exercise my call. I'm hoping that it goes up, well above $3 a share between now and the 21st. But if it doesn't, I'm intrigued by Plug, not necessarily just for a swing, but for the long term. Because you look at this pattern, this is over the course of many years, and having just broken out and then broken out of this smaller pattern here, which I feel like this move has played out, but the bigger one has not. So I think that there's a lot of upside potential for Plug, like could be a 10 bagger. And so I've actually not really talked about 10 baggers, but I think Plug is one of them. That would be going up to a price of 10 times the current price. So pretty cool. And I'm just going to go back up to the top here to see what these other tickers are that have been requested. Blink, I did go over that for John. And so what do I think about NEO? Frank is asking about NEO, so I'll go over that in just a second. I'm just going to clear off these two that I did go over. And so NEO, my thought process, kind of similar to what happened with Plug. I was expecting price to go up following earnings. I was expecting it to break up to either this downtrend or, this line here at $6 a share. I was wrong. I lost a little bit of money on a $6 call. I think I lost $8 on that. And I suspect that the call that I have that expires next week, next Friday on the 21st, it's a $5 strike. I suspect that is going to be closing out of the money, so I'm probably just going to lose that money. That sucks, but it is what it is. But what I see as being really intriguing, and I'll probably do a video referring to NEO with this. And so I'm just going to refresh this to see what the votes are leaning towards. Still, you guys make sure you vote on this before the close. I'll probably do a video on options, and the example that I use for options will probably be NEO. And the reason for that is because, I have a position in NEO. I do have shares, but I would like to get more shares. I'd like to get shares at a discount. And so rather than buying a call with a strike of $5 a share that, right now is out of the money, thinking that price will go higher, I think a better play is to sell a cash secured put with a strike of $4 a share. So that's coming down to right around here where the cursor is. And the reason why I think that's a good idea is because there's this gap right here. And so the close for April 25th was $4.13. I think what's going to happen is this gap is going to be filled. And so, let's say, I have a position in NEO. My average is higher than $4 a share. I'd like to get more shares. And so one way that I could do that is by selling a cash secured put. And so that is basically like saying, I'm going to sell a put that's saying if price closes below $4 a share on whatever the expiration is, I will then buy 100 shares at $4 a share. That equals $400. And so, you then have to have $400 in your account to then cash secure that put that you would sell. And the reason why you might want to do that is because if we do look over at the options table, I'm going to flip over to puts and I am going to look at, let's look at June 14th for the first one. So let's see, if I were to sell one put that expires this Friday, I would get the premium of $1. So it's not really that exciting because it's 1 cent times $1. I could make $1 on that, but then I would have to buy 100 shares at a strike of $4 if it closed below $4 a share. So I think it's kind of a good way to keep cash on the side and then also, to dollar cost average to be disciplined and wait for that dip to $4 a share. If price doesn't go down to $4 a share, you get to collect that premium, which here it's only $1, so not that exciting. But then you could, let's see. If it's above $4, but maybe it's like closes at like 410, then you could, buy more shares at 410 rather than at 447. So it's kind of like a way to say, like, I think it's going lower, but longer term, I'm bullish on the company. And so if we also look over at the June 21st expiration, that premium is 5 cents, which would be $5. So per contract, you get $5. And so that, like, in order to carry out this order, you need to have $405 in your account. And so you'd place $400 to secure that put. Or actually, sorry, you need $400 in your account. And so you'd pay $400 because if it does go down to $4 a share, you'd then have to buy. But then you'd get $400 back if it's above. Or actually, I don't think you actually, I've never done a cash secured put, but my understanding is you have to have $400 in your account. Otherwise, it's a naked sale, and then that could be potentially pretty risky. And so, I'll kind of refine my explanation of this and do a video on it. But this actually looks pretty appealing. And since I do have a call that expires here, this is a put, so my call is worth, if I were to sell it, I'd make $6, so it's pretty much worthless. I lost some money on that. But rather than buying shares on that date at $5 a share to exercise it if it's above, I could then just do a cash secured put, cost me $400, or I'd have to have $400 just set aside in my account, and then I'd get $5 premium. So I think that's kind of a more intriguing way to start positions. So I think that's a pretty cool example. I'd like to go over that in an options video. That's what I'll probably do today. And so let's see. I'm just catching up on the comments here. And so wait, before I catch up on the comments, we got about 2 minutes left in the trading. Let's take, maybe it's good to look over at the indexes. So what's the SPX at? Yep, so this is, still getting pretty close to the top there. And if I flip this over to the 1 minute time scale, I don't know if I got that trend line still up there, but yeah, let's see where we're closing at. We got 1 minute left in the market, and I always need to do this when I'm streaming. Let's see. Chart settings and last price. So that will should also give us a countdown. I thought it'd give us a countdown, but maybe not. Yeah, so we've got about maybe 30 seconds left before close. We got about 10 seconds left before close. So yeah, the SPX, the S&P 500, is closing almost at a new all-time high. Actually, look at that. Look at that, closing the day at a new all-time high. And I can tell it's an all-time high because there's a little indicator there that shows the price. You can see that they're closing. Yeah, I mean, it hit an all-time high just before close of $5,375.95, just below that. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that we're going to see this continue to move higher, grind higher, maybe break above this uptrend, but I think that will ultimately be a get rejected, and we will see a pullback. So I think it's a good time to be slowly stacking short positions, because eventually we will see a reckoning here. But right now, all-time highs. I mean, our like economy and all of that stuff is just so screwed up right now, and I feel like we won't really see the reckoning until either the election or inauguration. Whoever the next president is, doesn't matter as far as the charts go. As far as I'm thinking, I think it's just we could be putting a top in. And with that being said, with this having just closed, I'm going to refresh this, and whoa. We got a bunch of votes for DJT and options. So I'm going to have to screenshot that, and I will try to get out 2 videos on those. And so that is, what we've got. So cool. Thanks for voting in this. 13 votes, kind of a record-breaking tie at the end. So yeah, I'll try to do a video on DJT and options today. So I got my work cut out for me. But that's not such a bad thing. And so I will switch back to this, and I'll try to go over a few more tickers, but I did want to try to keep this to an hour stream so I don't get too overwhelmed adding the timestamps and don't get behind on making the videos and stuff. And so I'm just going to the request folder right here. And so yeah, I did just go over NEO, so I'm going to delete that here, and I will do a video on it today talking about what I was just talking about, the cash secured puts. And so, let's see. Yeah, I did refresh it again. Well, you put your comment there. Let's see. Okay, so, well, I mean, I took that at close. I didn't say anything about close here, so I'll take another screenshot. I'll just let it keep going. If I end up if DJT catches up with options, then I'll do DJT, but I'll prioritize the options video on NEO. So hopefully that's fair. So let's see a Big Lots video. That's a good point. I need to do a Big Lots video. I like it. Although, Laura, I did do a lot of that in the stream here. But I don't know that many people check the timestamps in the streams. And so I do think a video makes it more accessible. And I do think that the chart looks beautiful. I think it's a really nice example of volume, RSI, and price action doing what you want to do when you're looking for a bottom. So I think it's a really cool chart. That's a great call. I should do big. And so I'm actually going to note this on my little notepad that's getting kind of overwhelming. I also got to try to do DJT, but I will first do options, and that will likely be cash secured puts. I just learned about those yesterday from Colin Gladman's video on GameStop. I'd recommend checking that out. I think he's an excellent trader. He's just can be sometimes brutally honest, and sometimes people don't like that. And so, no, wait, I don't know where to find it. Are you talking about the poll? You just go to the channel tab. Oh, wait, actually, I created a new tab. I meant to refresh. And so, oh, yep, now DJT is winning. Okay, so, I'll check this before I make those videos, but I'm probably gonna do both of them today. So don't worry about it. Sober, I think I don't know if it was Kevin talking about that in the Discord, but sober might be a pretty good one. Yeah, Tiger Hood, cool. I imagine I know which one you voted for. And so yeah, I'll try to get both of those out today. And so I'm just gonna scroll back up. I tried to get, at least one request from everybody in the chat who requested stuff at the beginning. And yeah, lots of cool discussion. So Big Lots must be going bankrupt. The RSI is 16. And yeah, I'll go over that in the in the video. And it can depend on the time frame that you're looking at with RSI. So I tend to just look at the daily time frame. And let's see. NFL fans, I didn't see your comment before. Big sounds like a great meme play, probably not long term. Yeah, I mean, that's why I bought, that call, $3 strike, $5. Maybe I lose $5 on it, but, maybe I make $5 on it, and that's a nice little swing. 100% trade, kind of nice. And I love big lots, but I'm mostly in GameStop for squeeze plays. Jimmy, yeah, and so I might close the stream kind of going over AMC and GameStop. I think a lot of the volatility that we're seeing in the markets right now is largely due to the meme stocks, in particular GameStop and AMC. And so with GameStop, this is, if you're really into GameStop, I did share Colin's video on the channel, on the community page. So I'll just scroll down. And so this, I'll do a video on this basically. And thanks for voting in this. And so this is the video on Colin Gladman. It's a 42-minute long video. It'd be nice if he'd edit them and, clean them up a little bit. But he, is just sharing his thoughts, and he's, a proven trader, while I'm still learning a lot. And he provides his perspective on GameStop. So I think that's a really good one to check out, talking about options and also just what the chart's doing. And then also AMC, I shared this video yesterday from TWE Charts, that's Trading with Emotions. He also was doing a live stream right before I started this one, so I'd recommend checking that out as well. But, to close the stream, I thought I'd just go over GameStop a little bit and AMC. And so what Colin was talking about, I think he was actually looking at it on the hour time frame maybe. And so this, what you can think of is that here, let's see, where's this? Yeah, this green line here that I have drawn. Maybe I want to do the 4-hour time frame. Well, we can see, or the daily. It's not going to be as dynamic, but we can see that high from over here. That high was tested, $48 here. And, so if I do I need to show at least the 4-hour time frame. And so we kind of got, wick up to that level, and then during market hours, it was a double top. If I switch over to the daily, not even really a double top, it actually blew past that. So I'll actually just leave it on the daily time frame. And so kind of like the psychology around this, as far as I'm understanding, is, you get this big move up, and then, this is open, overnight trading, whatever. This was Monday, and, the price was up a lot, but then it just dumps. And then so people were probably thinking, oh, it's going to go higher, and then it doesn't. And then this, you get a close above that, a break. People think, oh, it's going to go higher, but it doesn't break above this technical level of like right around $48 a share, get a rejection from that, and it pulls back. And this is what Colin was talking about. I believe his chart was probably on the log scale. I have this on linear right now, but given this time frame, I don't think it really makes much of a difference. But basically, I'm just going to use this trend line tool. So kind of casual. It's just going from a low over here and intersecting with the low right here. And I might make that line, a different line. I might make this line nice and fat, and I'll make it, let's see. What color stands out? Maybe blue is a good one. And so, it's like he was talking about in his video that if there are trend line traders thinking, oh, we've got this trend line, we got a bounce, we're back at it, we might get another bounce. It does seem like we've had another bounce today with GameStop closing up almost 23% on the day, but then pulling back about 3% in the after hours. Did put in a bullish engulfing candle, so looking pretty good there. But if what we saw today is to be a fake out and we do break below this uptrend, that could cause some pain for people expecting price to not pull back to $18 a share. And so if it does pull back to $18 a share, I think a lot of people would be panicking, thinking, oh, this is, or, actually breaking lower than $18 a share. So the low here on the 24th was $17.70. We break below that. People say, their stop losses are hit. And they say, I got to get rid of my shares. But then that is actually the time to be buying. And he was also talking about, I don't usually have the moving averages up here, but I'm going to throw up the 200-day moving average. So let's just go over to that, and the 200-day is this blue line, which is currently at a price of right around 16. And so there could be people saying, oh, the 200-day moving average is right around 16. I'm not going to chase. I'm going to wait for that level to get filled. And so maybe price comes down to 18, maybe it comes down to 17. And like the way to create kind of a maximum pain where most orders don't get filled, or, you know, stop losses get filled, but buy orders don't get filled, would be breaking below 18, but then not coming down to the 200-day moving average. If people are waiting for that, that might not get filled. And then that could mark the bottom. And let's see, I don't see any news about GameStop. Let's see. So I guess there was some news about GameStop's chairman and CEO, Ryan Cohen, wins lawsuit regarding his investment in Bed Bath & Beyond. So that's good news. And so I think that's kind of why we saw a pop. But, you know, I think, you know, what we're waiting for is to find out that GameStop has, you know, secured the or sold the 75 million shares and, you know, raised capital, because then once that's over, then the bottom's in. And maybe that happens tomorrow and the rally that we saw today continues higher, or maybe it bleeds some tomorrow and, you know, maybe we break below this line. That's a dip buying opportunity before the news, the announcement of the raising of capital. And then we see some violent moves to the upside. So like for me, I have a small position in GameStop. I dollar cost average. And with AMC, I also have a small position. I've gotten more heavy in options, specifically calls, because I'm long and I want to get more shares and I want to use those calls kind of as leverage to drive the price higher. And most of those calls I want, or not most of them, a lot of them I want to expire in the money so I can, or go up below or higher than the strike, and then I exercise them. That would then push price even higher. But some of them I just kind of want to swing for, you know, potential 2x. But yeah, those are the out of the money calls that I got. But yeah, just fun stuff with that. And I just seeing that Kevin is saying VLD looking odd. Yeah, I got a grip of it. I'm swinging sober. I don't like DJT, but I'm indifferent. Yeah, as far as the chart of DJT goes, I've just heard a lot about people. I've seen kind of like people who talk about DJT, or maybe have requested I cover it, talk about how they're going to rallies and teaching people how to buy DJT. And so for me, I mean, I think that if there's a political campaign or politician that one wants to donate to, I think you should donate directly to their campaign. I think that DJT is kind of like a maybe not necessarily a loophole or a workaround. But, you know, I think that if one is wanting to invest in DJT to support their candidate, then I think that they should just do that. You know, whoever your candidate is, you should just contribute to their cause directly. But if one wants to trade the chart, I'll go over that. You know, I think that's interesting, and there are people who are interested in it. But I don't think it's a good way to contribute to a campaign. Are they able to halt during after hours? No, I don't believe they are. And there's lower volume in after hours, and so price can just kind of go. But for the most part, you know, even during power hour, I'm just looking at the daily charts because that's just kind of how I trade. It's kind of how I do my analysis. I'm not an intraday trader, but I might do some day trading videos or streams in the future. But, you know, just trying to get a handle on the channel and stuff. But yeah, so I went over some of the tickers that were requested. I'm sorry I couldn't go over all of them. I'm sure, like, you know, maybe I'll just do kind of a speed round here at the end, just going over these. You know, I used to follow this a while ago. That's why there are all these purple lines. I'm going to delete all of them because they're kind of old. I'm going to remove the moving average. And so with this one, my opinion, this looks pretty risky, down 2%, in the after hours. This is one I used to trade. I think I learned about them through Trey's Trades. There's this gap to the upside, but yeah, there's news of this offering, which was from the 3rd. And yeah, I mean, this to me looks, I mean, maybe it's bouncing, but like, let's see here from this, you know, bounce the bottom here, just from that open to up here, 47, almost 50% swing. Maybe just doing a trend line, doing it from there. Yeah, I mean, this is a fake out break below. Maybe it bounced on that as support, but I feel like generally, I mean, I don't know enough about this one to really have a comment, or and I'm not going to be able to do enough analysis to really think too much about it. But what I guess, yeah, I mean, what I can do, this is kind of like what I tend to do, is just I do a Fibonacci retracement from the low there up to the high here. I'm not sure if the bottom is exact, so I'm just going to check it here. 1251, so that's exact. I'm going to lock that in place. And yeah, I mean, it did break below the 786, but now currently trading above it. Actually, currently as in at the close, but in the after hours has broken below the 786, which is at 1533. Trading in the after hours is at 1526. So, but the after hours trading or pre-market trading can always serve to fake people out. So, yeah, I mean, it does look like, I just drew this line pretty roughly, but it does look like it respected that, and it did close above the 786. So I'd, look for a close above the 786 tomorrow. That's at 1533, and a close above the high of today, which is 1560. So that to me would suggest this could be going higher, potentially getting up to 17 cents, maybe 19 cents, something around there. Maybe even higher, but I'm not sure. And then CYBN, this one, let's see. Let's do kind of similar analysis, just doing like trend line here, but there's no real test of it. Maybe there's something here. Oh, wait. Man, I screwed that up. So like, if I do this, oh man, let's see, from the low here. This is a fake out break that I just did a trend line while holding shift, and so that made sure it was horizontal, and it did get a bounce off that level. And if I were to, let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to do a Fibonacci extension coming from the high here down to the low, up to the high here, and did close above that 50% level, which is like right around the lows there. So I think that's pretty nice looking, but it does have this wick here. It does have a gap to the upside, which would be getting to fill that gap. The close on June 4th was 33.2 cents, so maybe there's something there. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. FFIE. I think that this one, just like AMC, GameStop, all these ones that have been like squeezing a lot, I feel like this one did squeeze up a lot when the others did. This was on the 17th, so I think it was a little bit delayed, 14th really. So I think that this could be in a position where it's maybe finding support. I did, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I just did an extension, but I just drew it to that level. It's kind of arbitrary. But yeah, I would look for a move to above 86.45 cents. This is maybe consolidating down here before it rips higher. But pretty speculative with this. So, I'm not in it. I was in it before. Could have made some money, but I cut my losses. I think it's a risky one. I sold in the first squeeze of FFIE, but I have some positions right now. Nice. I think that this could be a time to be accumulating and that there will be another squeeze, but maybe not. I don't know too much about the company. It does have 200, almost 50 million market caps, and it's not terribly small or anything. So pretty nice size. And so, yeah, I could see this going higher, but for me, if there's a squeeze play, I'm more interested in AMC and GameStop, and potentially, I think Plug Power, I think has a lot of upside potential, short term and long term. And so, yeah, but so yeah, hopefully, what I went over with this is helpful. I'm going to switch over to NRDY, which is oddly nerdy, the name of it. And so here, what do I see? One thing that I think is pretty cool about this chart is if I just draw, a line here and then extend this over to, here. That does look like it's, a head and shoulders pattern. And from the top of this head, we did get, that kind of move. And so that would suggest price would end up being negative. So I think it's getting, or I believe it'd be getting negative. Let's see. Maybe it's getting a bouncer though, so if I draw, another Fibonacci extension from up here down to the low here and then up to, kind of that double top there, maybe this bounce is, getting rejected here around the 618 level at like 175. That's what it closed at. And I could see it coming down to 123 or 4, maybe 25. So yeah, I mean, I'd consider that. Let's see. Volume. I mean, yeah, volume's not going up a ton. Like, there's a big spike here. It'd be nice to see volume continuing to trend up. But yeah, up over 10% on the day. Maybe that's the move though, because I could see it having come into a level here, and maybe there's a trend line that I could draw that might intersect with that. Let's see. Yeah, so this is probably not going to be anything. I'm just going to switch over to the ray tool, extend it from the low over here to the pivot over here. That would suggest prices going lower. And so maybe I could move this. Let's see. Yeah, it's like from this pivot high, that kind of matches with where it hit the low. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about NRDY, haven't really looked at it, but I mean, it's the all-time low, I imagine, 147, just bounced from there. And I think that whenever a stock's getting like just, in the $1 range, I feel like there's always the risk of it being driven below $1. So I could see it getting rejected around here and maybe retesting, or not retesting, visiting for the first time ever, $1.24. Because, yeah. I could see this going lower and it getting rejected where it's currently at. So I'd be careful with it. And then I will, PBM, I guess this was requested. I don't know this one. Yeah, Tiger Hood, no problem. And let's see. I think we got a trend line here maybe, just from those bottoms. Looks like we broke below it. And so I could see this coming down to, the lows over. I mean, it did come down to the lows over there. So what's the low price over here? 163.11, just above 163.11. If I draw a horizontal line from that point, I think that's, there's potentially support where it's at, but if not, it could be testing these lows at like 51 cents. So yeah, I mean, this is actually kind of encouraging because there was a green day today. Green moves, opened lower but closed higher, even though it closed at yesterday's close. So I could see this as potentially having found a bottom, getting up to that trend line. I would think it might get rejected from there, but getting up to that level would be about a 15% swing. So that's not nothing. That's of interest. So maybe that's something, and maybe it goes even higher than that as this gap still has not been filled. And that's at a price of 80.3 cents. That's the close from May 28th. So getting up to that level from current price, that would be, a over 20% swing. So maybe there's something there, and then it could pull back and bounce, test this uptrend as support, and move higher. Yeah, so I think it's a pretty neat chart. And then Rivian, this is not too crazy in the chart on the day, or actually, it's basically flat on the day, flat in the after hours, a little bit down from yesterday's close. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, from here, I could see it pulling back to test 1055, and maybe that's a good dip buying level. And then it, launches up to go higher. This is one that, I had wished I had bought back here. And then when it gapped down to those levels, I was buying, but then I recognized, it's probably going lower. And, I just can't be in so many speculative positions that would end up being longer term. And, 826 seems like it was a great dip buying opportunity. I missed it. I'm missing the current prices now, but you can only spread yourself so thin. And yeah, I mean, I have a lot of belief in the company of Rivian, backed by Amazon. And I think that the vehicles that they're working on are just really nice looking. I know not everybody agrees. Some of them think they look like Pokemon, but I think that it's a pretty sleek, it's like a Tesla is a more like sleek city vehicle. And also, the Cybertruck, very nice. But then Rivian, I think, is more of like an outdoorsy type of vehicle rather than a city vehicle. And so I think that they've got that, and then also delivery vehicles, things like that. So I think it's a cool company, but I could see a pullback from where it's at. But I'm really just saying that because I want to see a pullback, because I like to dip buy. And one thing I might go over before I close this, I might actually just look at Lucid, because this was requested by Ricardo, and I don't know realistically if I'll get to a video on Lucid today. But yeah, I do see bottoms over here corresponding with this 1618 extension from the retracement over here. So really just looking at the bottom, like around 250 to 255. I could see it coming back to that level and that being the bottom before it getting to not just attempt at $3, but to close above it and start moving beyond. So I'd look for a pullback to 250 to 255. And with that being said, I could probably do a Fibonacci retracement from the low here at 229 and then up to the high here, which is at a price of 335. And so I'm just going to double check, make sure those lines are just right. And so, yeah, I mean, it's at the, it's in the golden pocket right now, but the 786 will be coming down to right around 250. And, the golden pocket's already been tested here, and there was kind of a weak bounce. And there wasn't really that much volume on that move up relative to the volume that we're seeing now. Volume is going down, so I think that's good. But I think, if it was, it's not like absent. There's still some volume relative to. So, I mean, I guess I would just caution in it going down to 250 to 255. And if it doesn't get there, it could be the golden pocket. This could be the bottom. So if one wanted to, it's like I need to establish a position in Lucid, it might be good to establish a quarter or a half a position at current price. But given that it was a red day being down 2.5% and closing, let's see, not closing below the lows over here, but a lower close than we've seen in this most recent downtrend. So I could see it really getting down to 250 to 255. So I'd if I were to establish a position in it, which I'm not planning on it, I wait for 250 to probably 255. And then Jedi Master Ham 2 is saying, aside from AMC, I'm watching JAG-X, BNED, and CRCW right now. So cool. Yeah, I did go over BNED in yesterday's stream a little bit. I'll pull that one up here, but I was just about to close the stream. And so, this did get halted. It's still halted. So yeah, coming down 30% on the day. And actually, wow, I don't know when the last time I did a video on this. I guess I didn't stream yesterday, did I? I don't think I did. It was probably Sunday. And so, yeah, when I drew the lines here, I guess, I had this channel drawn, though. And so I was probably thinking that price could be coming down to that. It's at the base of that channel or right around it. 9 cents could be a nice dip buying opportunity, but yeah. But it also could be... So can you guys see this headline above me? This is from Benzinga, so it'll pop up here. Barnes & Noble Education announces leadership changes and reverse stock split. So, yeah, what's the deal with the reverse stock split? And so from this, we can see that, yeah, what's the deal with the reverse stock split? Reverse stock split, okay. Yeah, so there's some management switching arounds, whatever. I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. So this is a 1 for 100. So this 9 0.5 cent is going to be $9.50. And so the board of directors will effectuate a reverse stock split of the company's outstanding shares of common stock at a ratio of 1-for-100 reverse stock split, which was previously approved by stockholders at a special meeting held on June 5th. The reverse stock split will become effective at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 11th. And so my thoughts on this, it pulled back to the reason why it's halted is because that reverse split's happening overnight. And I could see this having pulled back into this technical level that's acted as support, going back to the low here and corresponding to the low here with this big run up. I mean, it could, I could adjust this to be steeper going down to the low here, but it doesn't have as much, pivots, points, or crosses with candles as it does when I do the pivot here. And that was also the low right before this big move up. So I feel like that's a pretty notable level to be considering. Price pulled back to right around there. So if price does drop following the reverse split, I think it could be a bottom. And I think that with this, I don't know, that's not a parallel channel, but it's kind of close to it. I could see a move from current price, which is, let's say, $9.50, following the reverse split, a move up to test the top of the channel. That will be getting to a price of $35. So there could be a nice swing in there. So I'm intrigued by it, but yeah, I'm intrigued by the bounce that could be following since it did come to this level. And Tiger Hood is saying, I really want to learn about options. Can I learn them with you? Or do you recommend a book? Or I'll do a video on selling cash secured puts today, referring to NEO, because I'm very interested in that. But I would recommend going over to the channel page. And I'm just going to refresh this so we can see what this poll's at. DJT wins. I'm still going to do a video on options today because that was the technical. Actually, they were tied at market close. But this video, Colin Gladman goes over cash secured puts in that video, referring to GameStop specifically, but he kind of explains generally cash secured puts. So I'd recommend watching that video, and it's a really good one, and it's actually inspired a lot of my interest in options and cash secured puts because I know more about buying calls and selling covered calls, but I don't know much. I understand buying puts, but I don't really know too much about selling them. I just learned about them from him, and I'd like to make a video on it, and I'll do it probably with an example of NEO. Am I a swing trader? I try to be a swing trader, but sometimes when I'm wrong about stuff or the way that I dollar cost average, I end up being kind of a slow DCA'er, and I want to get better at swing trading, and that's where I think that options kind of come in handy because they have expiration dates, and so you have to really execute a strategy with them, forcing in ins and outs, and so I think that that's a really nice way to either accumulate positions or swing for premium. And so I'll definitely do a video on options at some point today. But, I'm going to close the stream down, and I will leave this up here. Thank you for voting in it. And if you guys haven't already, make sure you like the stream, make sure you like the videos, and, always share your thoughts, whether that's in the comments or the live chat. Always happy to hear from you guys, take your requests, and I try to get all of them, but I just can't all the time. And so, thank you so much for joining, and make sure you subscribe too. I try to put out at least one video every day. Sometimes I miss them, and I do try to do multiple live streams every week taking ticker requests. I also do ticker requests live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Unless it's a holiday Monday, then I switch it to that Monday evening. Yeah, and you have a good afternoon too, and welcome to the channel. Happy to have you here. And I'll see you guys all later. And I guess before I close this, I will note the videos that I'm going to try to do today. I did want to do some weeding in the garden, so I got to do that. I'm at work all day the next couple days. But I do need to take care of some weeding. So I'm going to try and get out a video on EV chargers. So that's going to include EVgo, ChargePoint, and Blink charging. I'd like to do a video on options referring to NEO specifically. And then voted on here was DJT, so I'll put out a video on them. And just looking at that BIG chart, I'll probably do a video on that as well. And so I'm just going to circle all of those on my notepad. Those are the videos I plan on getting out today. I do need to do one on kind of just chart overview, charting in TradingView. I don't use TradingView too much, but it was requested. I might do that over the weekend. And I did do some polls, that was requested, so hopefully helpful. And then I will likely do a cannabis update video, but since there are so many cannabis tickers, that might have to wait for the weekend just as far as time management goes, since I am working the next 2 days. I'm not working Friday, and also on the note of time management with cannabis tickers, then since there are so many, if I record the video during market hours, the prices could be changing so much from the time I start the video to the time I end it. So that's kind of why it's nice to do a cannabis ticker update over the weekend. So I'll try to do that this weekend for sure. But yeah, it looks like I got 4 videos I got to work on the rest of the day. And so I'll try to have those out to you guys. And again, thank you so much for joining. And I'll see you in the next stream, which will likely probably be for close on Friday because I'm not working Friday. So yeah, I'll see you guys then and in the next video in the comments.